As I sat behind the wheel, gripping it tightly, a sense of unease washed over me. The night was dark, the moon hidden behind thick clouds, casting an eerie shadow on the deserted road ahead. I found myself driving alone on a desolate stretch of highway, far from any signs of civilization. It was the kind of road you'd expect to find in a horror movie, where nightmares lurked in the shadows. My heart raced as I navigated through the winding road, the only source of light being the faint glow of my headlights. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of my own breathing. A sense of dread settled deep within me, like an unshakable weight. As I continued driving, a strange sensation tugged at my senses. It was as if something was watching me, unseen eyes peering from the darkness. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being followed, pursued by an unseen force. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end, and a cold sweat trickled down my forehead. Just when I thought the tension couldn't escalate any further, I caught a glimpse of something in my rearview mirror. A figure, barely visible in the dim light, seemed to be standing in the middle of the road behind me. Panic welled up inside me as I glanced back, but there was nothing there. It was as if the figure had vanished into thin air. Shaken, I forced my eyes back onto the road, desperately trying to convince myself that it was all in my imagination. But then, the figure reappeared, closer this time, its pale face illuminated by my taillights. My heart threatened to leap out of my chest as I realized that this was no ordinary person. The figure's eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and its mouth twisted into a sinister grin. Terrified, I floored the accelerator, my car hurtling forward as if trying to outrun the horror behind me. But no matter how fast I drove, the figure remained in my rearview mirror, growing closer with each passing moment. Its presence weighed heavily on me, suffocating my every breath. I knew I had to escape, to find help before it was too late. I searched desperately for signs of civilization, a gas station, a house, anything. But the road stretched on endlessly, leading me deeper into the heart of darkness. Every street sign seemed to mock me, pointing me further down a path of no return. Suddenly, my car jolted violently, as if struck by an invisible force. The steering wheel jerked out of my hands and the vehicle swerved uncontrollably. I fought against the unseen entity, struggling to regain control, but it was futile. The car careened off the road, crashing into a tree with a bone-shattering impact. As the smoke cleared and the ringing in my ears subsided, I found myself trapped inside the wreckage. Blood dripped from my forehead, obscuring my vision, but I could still make out the figure slowly approaching. It loomed over me, its presence suffusing the air with malevolence. I knew then that my fate was sealed. In that moment, I closed my eyes and accepted the darkness that enveloped me. The figure leaned in, its icy breath caressing my cheek, and whispered words that echoed through my soul. And as the world faded away, I couldn't help but wonder, would anyone ever discover the horrors that lurked on this desolate road?